Okay, why me? Well, my name is Dave Ashton. I'm the Denver program manager at KGNU Community Radio. It's already more than I've expected. So what is KGNU Community Radio? It came together in the late 70s, went on the air in 1978 as a grassroots gathering of really the community, the citizens of Boulder, to occupy a space on the FM dial, which the regents of CU Boulder decided was going to be a little too much freedom of speech for those crazy 70s kids on campus. In a last-minute vote, they turned down 88.5 in that asset, and the people ended up picking it up. Those people had the wherewithal and the knowledge to do that because of a free university. You guys remember the free universities? They had one in Boulder, they had one in Denver. Went on until the late 80s. We don't have that now, right? We just have like free internet and Wi-Fi in some places, and that's going to be your education. But so KGNU, where David Barsamian's alternative radio program is rooted and comes out of, let's give it up for David. Before I knew anything about this, I saw David on Manufacturing Consent in the 90s when it was like the punk rock Bible with Noam Chomsky. But, and those videotapes were passed hand to hand, right? So like this whole media story has totally just blown out of control now. The ability to share information is really making information itself much less valuable. So it is kind of curious that the powers that be even believe that state secrets can exist or can put them in any danger, that anyone will care in a large enough number for them to actually like not vote for somebody or form a third party somehow. I find it curious that they go to these lengths to repress this, because clearly the masses are not prepared or in any way groomed to respond in ways that will like protect the humanity of people overseas. So what are we supposed to do? Well, I guess, trying to get the truth out there, obviously it's important because there's always the narrative and then there's the evidence. And people are going to deal with those two things, right? Like I have a friend who's, wants to call Israeli bombing of Palestine a war, but then he's able to see the footage of targeted strikes on hospitals and say, well, obviously that wasn't an errant mortar shell like we can buy in Wyoming. Clearly this is a targeted helicopter strike. He can watch the video and he goes, yeah, they're blowing up hospitals. I can see that with my own eyes. So, I mean, there is that ability, right, for now better information to get out there. I mean, this is almost 150 journalists killed in Palestine. Each and every one of those people had been communicating to another group, smaller, larger, we don't know the scale, of what's really happening there. And so that democratization is important, right? The reason that I'm probably the only person from the media here, other than my esteemed colleague David, why KGNU is the only entity here, is because those other mainstream media platforms, they don't need their freedom of speech. They don't need real information. This was seen in the March to War with the weapons of mass destruction narrative just being pumped nightly through the net, before the internet information explosion. And there was really no accountability for that. There was really no research that went into it. It reorganized our entire society, and it laid bare the way that corporate ownership of media, corporate ownership of the war elements, the people pay for a lot of this, but a whole lot of it is also privatized. And we know this in Colorado. We have a tremendous war industry throughout. So when those dollars are not only putting together the reasoning for all this violence, plus the infrastructure, the weaponry, the ammunition to make it happen, we're kind of collateral damage to it as well. Our own ability for critical thinking, our own do we matter in this conversation at all? I mean, voter turnout is so low, not just of like people eligible to vote, but also those disenfranchised from the vote, but then also like all of the statistics and information that comes out of who does vote and why. I just have to say that, like, you know, Julian Assange, he's looking to be a martyr and to join the many, many martyrs that we have for this idea that information is real, that documentation can be shown and actually change people's minds about something, and that if their minds are changed, then their behavior can change, then they can change the system. So, you know, I want to be hopeful that Julian can get justice, because if he does not, then our entire industry is transformed in a way that we won't know until it impacts each of us, until somebody crosses that line with some powerful interest that doesn't want certain proof about certain things coming out. So, you know, the wild thing, I mean, you would hope that a martyr would have the support of the people for whom that individual is falling on the sword, as the incredible seppuku poem was read, right? The ritual gutting, and you just let it pile out. But they're not gonna care. It's only gonna be a few of us, and those of us that really understand this importance of real information and being able to document all of these abuses. So thank you guys for caring. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting Julian. Thanks for inviting me. And grab a pocket schedule for KGNU. For me, you know, we're here to be the people's mouthpiece. So let's just keep talking.